So, Tony, you're changing your life. Moving back to New York, living below the High Line, that's a wonderful thing. But you also, you want to get into the impact investing world. I know you've done a lot of not-for-profit stuff, Robin Hood Foundation and all that. How are you thinking about it? What's the mindset for you?
Well, I've always thought about eventually being involved in policy or potentially politics, and as I spent more time thinking about it, I thought somehow combining my skills as an investor with some of these policy areas that I care about would be a good way to approach it. You know, I do think we're at a unique time. There's some really huge problems that I think are going to take government philanthropy and lots of capital that can only be mobilized through for-profit, for-good. And so I want to be part of mobilizing that capital. I think there's a lack of product today, so I actually think there's a good business model around it as well. A number of investors that want sustainable investments, want impact investments. So I'm excited to be part of that. I also think...
So that's not philanthropy. You're really thinking impact investing, profit and purpose.
That's right. And I think philanthropy, of course, has a role, but you know, I was actually at a lunch with Mohammed Yunus today, who started Grameen Bank, really wonderful guy, and I thought he put it in a nice way. He said the great thing about for-profit is you get the money back again, so you can spend it a second time, you know, versus in philanthropy, it's out the door and doesn't always come back to you. Of course, both are needed. I also I think maybe having gone through seeing things through the Wharton lens, I like the discipline that a for-profit model brings, waking up every day thinking, how do I do it better? How do I do it cheaper? How do I make sure that the product that I have is something that people want, instead of sort of in a laboratory coming up with a solution and then bringing it out into the field and perhaps it not being what is exactly needed. Just the second point on it, and you touched on in your introductory comments, which I think is important. I think this time is different because I think governments will run out of money. And so it's almost like we've given up hope that our governments can be more efficient and really deliver quality services at a reasonable price. But I think it will happen in our lifetimes. I think it has to happen because we're going to run out of money. And so I think there will be an openness to public-private partnerships that haven't been there in the past. Hard to get that timing exactly right, but anyway, I'm going to take a first step into that world.
Well, we're trying to think in an innovative way, how do we bring private capital to solve some of these big challenges in the world? And so if you think about one aspect of Credit Suisse, we have one of the largest private banks in the world. And what is fascinating to me, and particularly as the concentration of wealth is stratified and going higher up to the ultra-high net worth space, when I sit and talk to my ultra-high net worth clients that are our private banking clients, what they're saying is their children are very, very focused, whatever generation we're on, millennial, X, Y, or Z, I don't know.
It's hard to keep up with
I know,
all
it's
these
hard for me to keep up.
generations, yeah.
But they are pushing their parents. Dad, mom, what are you doing to give back to society? So our very clients are coming to us saying, what do you have to offer me as a private bank that I can invest in that's going to satisfy the needs of my kids who are telling me I need to do some of this? Now, obviously, they want to do it too, but it's an interesting push-pull thing. And if I can make an interesting sort of analog or corollary to sort of some of the dialogue that I'm having with Wharton students, I can tell you, if I'm a little bit facetious or cynical, pre-crisis, I used to have these conversations with people that we were recruiting, and the first question they would ask is, how quickly can I make an MD at an investment bank, and what's my sign-on bonus? Now when I have these conversations, the types of things that people are saying are, what is it that Credit Suisse is doing to give back to society? What do you offer me in terms of philanthropic opportunities to marry my social impact desires and things that I want to do from that standpoint with the day job? And that is a really interesting thing, and that is a generational shift, I think, that's happening now. So if we want to attract all of you wonderful people, we better respond to that. Not that we don't want to do it anyway because we believe we have a place in society, but I think smart corporations are all going to figure that out. Back to the private sector making this a strategic part of their agenda to solve some of these problems. So I think it's just, you think about this whole ecosystem of push, pull, finding a solution when the governments can't and all that sort of stuff. I'm actually quite hopeful.